There's no reason I see why somebody like me shouldn't fall for somebody like you. There's no reason I feel, though it seems so unreal, why you shouldn't feel that way too. I remember the night my head felt so light as we danced the last dance together. I was mildly surprised when you looked in my eyes and told me you'd love me forever. And the band played Red River Valley, and the singer sang Whispering Pines, as we danced hand in hand to the music of the band. You promised you'd always be mine. Yeah. I have loved you so long that the words of this song could never begin to explain. Were you ever to leave me, just pack up and leave me, I'd never would sing it again. Now the evening is gone and the pale midnight moon is shining so soft on your hair. Side by side we will walk, there's no need for to talk, I'm just happy to know that you care. And the band played Red River Valley, and the singer sang Whispering Pines, as we danced hand in hand to the music of the band. You promised you'd always be mine. And the band played Red River Valley, and the singer sang Whispering Pines, as we danced hand in hand to the music of the band. You promised you'd always be mine. Hello, good evening. I'm Johnny McEvoy. Oh, your eyes are as bright as they were the first night when we danced to an old-fashioned tune in the dusty old schoolhouse on Saturday night. How we laughed as we waltzed round the room. You came from the valleys to the dark city alleys to care for the young and the poor. And me, a young soldier with medals galore that I'd won in the African War. And my heart filled with joy as the others passed by. By the look in their eyes I well knew that never before, as we swept round the floor, had they seen someone lovely as you. Oh, your hair shone like gold, a joy to behold. Your beauty was known far and wide. There was many a young lad who'd lay down his life for one moment to be by your side. But you gave them no glances, you gave them no dances, as you gracefully stepped on the floor. With me, a young soldier with medals galore that I'd won in the African War. And my heart filled with joy as the others passed by. By the look in their eyes I well knew that never before, as we swept round the floor, had they seen someone lovely as you. When the morning had come and the dancing all done, we would walk in the dawn of the day. I would tell you tall stories of battles and glories and comrades who fell in the fray. Now the years come and go, still the love that you show is as sweet and as warm as before. When I, a young soldier with medals galore, came home from the African war, my heart filled with joy as the others passed by. By the look in their eyes I well knew that never before, as we swept round the floor, had they seen someone lovely as you. That never before, as we swept round the floor, had they seen someone lovely as you. What's your hurry? Can't you stay and pass an hour away? And we'll sit and dream a while by candlelight. For when the long day's over, that's the time I fear the most. When I hear your footsteps fade into the night, you're restless, tell me why. There's a teardrop in your eye, and I've seen it there 100 times before. And I know you're going to leave me, and it always breaks my heart, for you seldom come to see me anymore. I well recall that day when my ship had sailed away to a far-off distant land across the sea, where a cruel war was raging, where time was standing still, and blind hatred was the order of the day. You're restless, tell me why. There's a teardrop in your eye, and I've seen it there 100 times before. And I know you're going to leave me, and it always breaks my heart, for you seldom come to see me anymore. Now I know it can't be fair for a soldier's wife to hear how he helped to keep his country proud and free, and no bronze or fancy ribbons can ever heal the pain when he comes back half the man he used to be. You're restless, tell me why. There's a teardrop in your eye, and I've seen it there 100 times before. And I know you're going to leave me, and it always breaks my heart, for you seldom come to see me anymore. You seldom come to see me anymore. I loved a girl one time when my life was in its prime, and the summer evening seemed to have no end. In the garden we would walk, where the rose and hollyhock, their loveliness no jewel could transcend. She was young and she was fair, like an angel standing there, and her smile it could light up my darkest day. As she held me to her heart, I prayed we'd never part. But the weather turned and took me far away. So sleep, my lovely, sleep, where the rippling waters meet, in the valley where the roan and chestnut grow. In that little cottage there, free from worry, free from care, till we meet again, no other love I know. Many oceans have I crossed, slept beneath the Southern Cross. I have stood upon the mountains of Peru, and of girls I've known my share, but there's none that can compare with the loveliness and beauty that is you. Now the years have come and gone, and my traveling days are done, and the sun is sinking slowly in the sky. Once again we'll take a walk by the rose and hollyhock, and I love you as I did in days gone by. So sleep, my lovely, sleep, where the rippling waters meet, in the valley where the roan and chestnut grow. In that little cottage there, free from worry, free from care, till we meet again, no other love I'll know. Till we meet again, no other love I'll know. While on tour in England some time back, I took a walk one Sunday morning up around Paddington Station, and I came across three lads sitting on a wall drinking cheap red wine and cider and looking very sad and unhappy and lonesome and lost. And I knew they were Irish because one of them was singing, "The old triangle went jingle jangle along the banks of the Royal Canal." I went back to the hotel and I wrote this song for those three unknown lads from home. I'll write just as soon as I can. I've walked the soles off my feet on these dark London streets in search of a room and a bed, For my heart gets so weary with the nights cold and dreary, and all I want is to lay down my head. I can see by your face that you're leaving this place. You're catching the overnight train. If you should meet my mother, will you tell her I love her, and I'll write just as soon as I can. 6 months in this city, God knows there's no pity when you haven't a bob of your own. And there's no need for locks on that old cardboard box, even though it's the place you call home. I can see by your face that you're leaving this place. You're catching the overnight train. If you should meet my mother, will you tell her I love her, and I'll write just as soon as I can. Outside Paddington Station, my heart it is breaking, and I can't tell my tears from the rain. And the jingle and jangle of the damned old triangle goes ringing around in my brain. I can see by your face that you're leaving this place. You're catching the overnight train. If you should meet my mother, will you tell her I love her, and I'll write just as soon as I can. I can see by your face that you're leaving this place. You're catching the overnight train. If you should meet my mother, will you tell her I love her, and I'll write just as soon as I can. And I'll write just as soon as I can. First I saw you, how my young heart filled with joy. You were picking sweet primroses when I chanced to pass you by. I felt some strange thing happen, and I felt something had changed. Because of you, I always knew I'd never be the same. You lived in a rich man's garden, fairest flower of all that grew, in a world I had no part of, where no harm could fall on you. And I never got to know you, for you never looked my way. So I left you in that garden, and I sadly walked away. Your father, he had riches, with nothing left to crave, a lord of all the people, with a soul cold as the grave. And I knew he'd give no quarter to one as poor as me. So I never crossed that garden where I knew my heart to be. You lived in a rich man's garden, fairest flower of all that grew, in a world I had no part of, where no harm could fall on you. And I never got to know you, for you never looked my way. So I left you in that garden, and I sadly walked away. Now the years have slipped behind me, and my hair has turned to grey. I still see you in that garden on that far-off summer day. You were 6 and I was 7, with not a jacket to my name. How I loved you in that garden, but you never spoke my name. You lived in a rich man's garden, fairest flower of all that grew, in a world I had no part of, where no harm could fall on you. And I never got to know you, for you never looked my way. So I left you in that garden, and I sadly walked away. The first sights of the new world that the emigrants would see when they sailed over the horizon and up the Hudson River into New York Harbor was the Statue of Liberty, standing with her arm raised in the flame of freedom, and the words of welcome written on the pedestal that say, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses." These words inspired this next song called Staten Island. We sailed our ship up the Hudson River to the wild Atlantic. We said farewell on Staten Island. When we landed, there we had our tale to tell. We're the poor, the huddled masses. We have crossed the lonely sea, left the old world for the new world, left the old ways to be free. We left our homes in 47, turned our backs against the wind. From our ships of creaking timber, we bid farewell to a famished land. We're the poor, the huddled masses. We have crossed the lonely sea, left the old world for the new world, left the old ways to be free. With heavy hearts we left behind us memories of better days, home and talking, children laughing as we danced the night away. We're the poor, the huddled masses. We have crossed the lonely sea, left the old world for the new world, left the old ways to be free. Still we hear their voices calling, on the wind we hear the sound. Friends and loved ones, old and young ones, lie beneath the famine mounds. We're the poor, the huddled masses. We have crossed the lonely sea, left the old world for the new world, left the old ways to be free. And now those years are far behind us. Now our spirits have grown strong in this land that gave us freedom and the will to carry on. We're the poor, the huddled masses. We have crossed the lonely sea, left the old world for the new world, left the old ways to be free. 2, 3, 4. When all of those Irish people left this land of ours and traveled across the broad Atlantic Ocean to the great lands of America and to Canada, in most cases they didn't have much to bring with them, maybe the clothes they stood up in or a few dollars. But they had their music and their songs and fiddle tunes and pipe tunes and whistle tunes. And these tunes and songs are found from the Gulf of Mexico right up to the cold fields of Newfoundland. And every now and again, one of them finds its way back to us. Slightly changed, maybe, but still as good as ever. This is one of those tunes. It's called the Ballad of St. Anne's Reel. If you know it, sing the chorus. If you don't sing the chorus. Let's see you clap your hands. He was stranded on some tiny town on fair Prince Edward Island, waiting for a ship to come and find him. A one-horse place, friendly face, some coffee, and a tiny trace of fiddle in the distance far behind him. A dime across the counter then, a shy hello, a brand new friend, walked along the street in the wintry weather. A yellow light, an open door, a welcome friend, there's room for more. Then they're standing there inside together. He said, I heard that tune before somewhere, but I can't remember when. Was it on some other friendly shore? Did I hear it on the wind? Was it written on the sky above? I think I heard it from someone I love, but I never heard it sound so sweet since then. Now his feet begin to tap. The little boy says, I'll take your hat. He's caught up with the magic of her smile. Then leaps the heart inside him, running off across the floor. He sent his clumsy body graceful as a child. He said, there's magic in the fiddler's arms, there's magic in this town. There's magic in the dancers' feet and the way they put them down. Smiling people everywhere, boots and ribbons, locks of hair, laughter and old blue suits and Easter gowns. Yeah! Now the sailor's gone and the room is bare. The old piano sitting there, someone's hat's left hanging on the rack. An empty chair, a wooden floor that feel the touch of shoes no more, waiting for the dancers to come back. And the fiddle's in the closet of some daughter of the town. The strings are broken, the bow is lost, and the cover's buttoned down. But sometimes on December nights, when the air is cold and the wind is right, there's a melody that passes through this town. Woo! Well, emigration seems to be the recurring theme in the program tonight, and I'd like to sing my favorite immigrant song. It goes way back. I remember in my childhood hearing this song quite a lot. It's a lovely old song called The Old Bog Road. guitar here on Broadway this blessed harvest morn. But oh, the ache that's in them for the place where I was born. My weary hands are blistered from working cold and heat. But oh, to swing a scythe again in a field of Irish wheat. Had I the chance to journey back or own the king's abode, I'd rather see the hawthorn tree and the old bog road. My mother died last springtime when Ireland's fields were green. The neighbors said her waking was the finest ever seen. There were snowdrops and primroses piled high beside her bed, and Ferns Church was crowded when the funeral mass was said. But here was I on Broadway, just building bricks by load, when they carried out her coffin down the old bog road. Now life's a weary puzzle, past finding out by man. I'll take the day for what it's worth, and I'll do the best I can. Since no one cares a rush for me, what need for me to moan? I'll go my way, I'll draw my pay, I'll smoke my pipe alone. Each human heart must know its grief, though bitter be the lows. So God be with you, Ireland, and the old bog road. So God be with you, Ireland, and the old bog road. The sky was clear, the stars were shining, the moon came out, so quiet in the sky. The people gathered round, the bands were tuning, I can hear them now, playing Coming Through the Rye. You were dressed in blue, you looked so lovely, just a gentle flower of a small town girl. You took my hand, we danced to the music with a single smile. You became my world, and we danced all night to the fiddle and the banjo, their drifting tunes. They filled the air so long ago, I can still remember when we fell in love at the Roseville Fair. courted well, we courted dearly. We'd rock for hours on the front porch chair. A year went by from the time that I met you, then I made you mine at the Roseville Fair. And we danced all night to the fiddle and the banjo, their drifting tunes, they fill the air. So long ago, I can still remember when we fell in love at the Roseville Fair. So here's a song for all of the lovers. Here's a tune that we can share as we dance all night to the fiddle and the banjo, the way we did at the Roseville Fair. May we dance all night to the fiddle and the banjo, the way we did at the Roseville Fair. On a cold Thursday afternoon in April of 1912, a great ocean liner sailed into Cove Harbor and took on board 115 passengers. Then she sailed westward on her maiden voyage to New York. She was the White Star liner, the RMS Titanic. And the people who built this great ship were very, very proud of her. They said she was the biggest ship in the world. She was the fastest ship in the world. And she was the most beautiful ship ever built. They even said she was unsinkable. And someone went so far as to say that not even God could sink this great ship. But that was a dangerous boast for any mortal man to make. Because only 3 days after leaving Cove, on the Sunday night at 20 minutes to 12, off the coast of Newfoundland, she struck an iceberg. And big and all as she was, and proud and all as she was, she sank in 2.5 hours, taking with her that night 1,500 souls to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. This is a song I wrote about an imaginary couple who have grown tired of the hardships of living in Ireland, and they decide to emigrate to America. Only sadly for them, they sail away on the RMS Titanic. It's called The Ballad of John Williams. Last I saw John Williams, a young man full of pride, to have his bride of just 4 days stand shyly by his side. He laughed and slapped me on the back, said, "Boy, oh, can't you see? I've seen the last of windswept bogs and bogs the last of me, and the peelers and the landlords and the risings of the moon. And if ever I return again, 'twill be too bloody soon. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, wife, sail away into the night. Where they'll end up, no one knows. Round and round the story goes. He said, my friend, I'll take my chance in far-off New York town. They say there's lots of work there, and a good man won't stay down. For with my lassie by my side, we'll build a better home. And when the sea trips over land, we never more will roam. So we said farewell upon the quay. There was nothing left to do but to pray for John and his lovely bride, that their dreams might all come true. How I envied you, John Williams, and your lovely fair-haired bride, to be sailing on that mighty ship across the ocean wide. For she's the finest liner that was ever built by man, and they say there's naught can sink her, not even God's own hand. Man's pride can be his own downfall, that great ship sailed from home. But I thought I heard the banshees cry, that chilled me to the bone. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, wife, sailed away into the night. Where they'll end up, no one knows. Round and round the story goes. Round and round the iceberg flows. One cold winter's morning, just as day was dawning, I sailed out of Galway to cross the wild sea. My home left behind me, no friends to stand by me. Alone I was bound for America. In New York I landed flat broke, I was stranded. In search of employment I walked through the town. There was no job waiting, so without hesitating I went to the station, my name to put down. Then up spoke the captain, said he, my fine young man, here's pen and here's paper, you know what to do. Praying nothing would harm me, I joined Lincoln's army to fight for the stars, the red, white and the blue. Well, they gave me a cap and boots of strong leather, they gave me a gun and a fine coat of blue. Then in marching formation for God and the nation, we left New York City, our duty to do. Then General Sherman, he gave us a sermon on the love of one's country and the rights of mankind. As we marched down through Georgia, my thoughts were on Galway and the friends and relations I left far behind. Johnny Rebel was waiting, ourselves he was hating, and all that we stood for, he hated that too. But he was a fine fellow, and this I will tell you, he stood his ground bravely, no more could he do. For 4 angry years, through blood, sweat and tears, we slaughtered each other, never counting the cost. Through hail and fine weather, brother fought brother, till compassion was gone and all reason was lost. And nobody questioned or made a suggestion as to why they all died, they just could not explain. Ah, but if this war's over before we're much older, I promise it never will happen again. Now the fighting is ended and peace has descended. In this war-blackened country, our comrades lie low, lying shoulder to shoulder, their bones growing colder. Marching is over, there's nowhere to go. And so, Mr. Lincoln, I find myself thinking, in spite of what's happened, I know what we'll do. And pray God, if He's willing, there'll be no more killing, and we'll raise up the stars, the red, white, and the blue. The curlew stood silent and unseen in the long, damp grass, and he looked down on the road below him that wound its way through Bale na Blah. And he heard the young men shouting and cursing, running backwards and forwards, dodging and weaving, and ducking the bullets that rained down on them from the hillside opposite. Just as quickly as it started, the firing stopped, and a terrible silence hung over the valley. A lone figure lay on the roadside in the drizzling August rain, dressed in green greatcoat, leggings, and brown hobnail boots that would never again set the sparks flying from the kitchen flagstones as he danced his way through a half set. A hurried, whispered act of contrition, and the firing breaks out again. The curlew takes to flight, and as he flies out over the empty, sad fields of West Cork, with his lonesome call, he must tell the world that the big fellow has fallen and that Michael is gone. On a far-off August day, cold young men in ambush lay on a roadside by a hill where flowers grow. So much hate for one so young, who was right and who was wrong. Though 1,000 years may pass, we'll never know. Candles dripping blood, they place beside your shoulders. Rosary beads like teardrops on your fingers. Friends Friends and comrades standing by, in their grief they wonder why. Michael, in their hour of need, you had to go. And when evening twilight came, gently fell the autumn rain. Ah, but you lay still and silent on the ground as we hung our heads in prayer. In our sorrow and despair, we wondered, was it friend or foe who shut you down? Candles dripping blood, they placed beside your shoulders. Rosary beads, like teardrops on your fingers. Friends and comrades standing by, in their grief they wonder why. Michael, in their hour of need, you had to go. Now the flame that you held high when you called out to the sky to end this senseless killing and this shame has now passed to other hands and is carried through the land by some not fit to even speak your name. Candles dripping blood, they place beside your shoulders. Rosary beads, like teardrops on your fingers. Friends and comrades standing by, in their grief they wonder why. Michael, in their hour of need, you had to go. Michael, in their hour of need, why did you go? Oh, tonight all alone I'm thinking of you. Once again I'm wondering where you are. Are you still singing songs as you move from town to town? Still hanging your dreams on a star? Do your fair weather friends still hang around you and believe in every word you have to say? Well, I'll tell you this, my friend, and I don't mean to offend, but the weather's gonna change on you someday. Run around, angel, wandering star, where you going? Can't be far. Living your daydreams in honky-tonk bars. Run around, angel, wandering star. Yo. Many times in the past you came back crying and promised me you'd change your wicked ways. But your span of attention was too short for to mention, and one night was all you would stay. In the morning I'd find you had left me. Your boots and coat were gone from off the floor. So if you want to treat me nice, well then take this advice. Don't come knocking on my window anymore. Run around, angel, wandering star. Where you going? Can't be far. Living your daydreams in honky-tonk bars. Run around, angel, wandering star. Run around, angel, wandering star. Where you going? Can't be far. Living your daydreams in honky-tonk bars. Run around, angel, wandering star. Run around, angel, wandering star. Where you going? Can't be far. Living your daydreams in honky-tonk bars. Run around, angel, wandering star. Yay! Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. God bless. Thank you for coming. Thank you.